Hi, I'm James and welcome to the latest review. Today we're going to look at Warlord Games Cruel Seas game, their World War II naval battle game. Now it's based around coastal warfare. It's using fast attack boats basically, and I've got the starter set because I saw it cheap and I thought it's worth trying, and if nothing else it'll give a good review for the channel. So, lovely evocative bit of artwork on the front cover. Combat between the Royal Navy and the Kreigsmarine. Features possibly what I think is the most optimistic person I have ever seen, which is the Royal Navy sailor wearing the white jumper throwing a hand grenade. That's pretty desperate, although I am reminded of the US Admiral who was asked about how effective the Phalanx air defence system was for shooting down incoming missiles, and his line was, "Son, if there's an incoming missile, I'm leaning out of the bridge firing my 45 at it." Yeah, I do like that quote. Like I said, lovely and evocative. Just little touches like the rear S-boat just coming out of the water, the Lanchester being carried by the figure there. Warlord, if you are watching this, any chance of some Lanchester armed figures for the Royal Navy? Because that was the submachine gun they were issued rather than the Thompson. So we've got a nice evocative box to start off with. So let's have a look at the contents. I was quite impressed at how heavy it was when I picked it up. So we've got splash markers. Now, if you've played bolt action, it's a very similar concept, except these are water. How many have we got there? We've got 12 of them. Okay, that's more than the number of bolts that come in the set. So we've got a couple spare already. So that's a nice touch. I'd always rather have too many than too few. No doubt I'll need to pick some more up if I start playing larger games. Okay, we've got some dice. Okay, we've got mixed types in there. We've got 5 for the Kreigsmarine in grey. We've got 7 for the Royal Navy with the Combined Arms logo on it. I'll bring that up so if you can have to take it out of the bag so you can see it a little bit better. So we've got the Combined Ops flash. Okay, I'm guessing that's probably a holdover from the bolt action range. So we've got that. We've then got 3, 6, 10 6-sided dice and 2 10-sided. So there's a fair few dice in there. Okay, we've got the models themselves. The more simple ones are these. These are the torpedoes in the water. Okay, yeah, they're quite nice. They're simple. Even I should manage to paint those up fairly easily. We've got 2 sprues of German boats. The S-boat or Schnellboot, which stands for fast boat. They were known to the Royal Navy as the E-boat. I'll probably get around to checking why. So what have we got? We've got the 2 ships, we've got some bridges for them, 4 torpedoes to mount on them, and then a variety of different weapons, because there were different weapons on different classes of the boat. So yeah, they look quite nice. So there's 2 sprues of that, so you have 4 German ships, and then you have 6 Royal Navy ships. The Royal Navy are Vospas, marks 1 and 2, 6 torpedoes. You've got more parts for this. You've got bridge, looks like it's 2-part, and again there's a few weapons, and we've got the masts as well on this one. So a little bit more complex, but still looking relatively straightforward. The scale for these is 1 to 300th, which does mean that potentially you can tie it in with other things. I can see it being used quite successfully, sort of for a naval operation, and in one of the mystery boxes I actually got 2 Italian boats in one, and I got a pack of landing craft in the other. So straight away I could actually do something. I'm kind of thinking I can see something about Operation Tiger coming into that. So we've got the various boats. I suppose I could always link it in as well to the Blood Red Skies, which I did a review of recently, which are 1 to 200th, and the aircraft being slightly larger will probably work quite well. So we then got a pack of cards, oh, and some flags as well in that. I wasn't expecting the flags. So let's have a look what we've got. So we've got the Kreigsmarine, or the German Navy ones, and the Royal Navy ones, white and red ensigns on there. Okay, and then we've got the actual data cards. What have they done? It looks as if, yeah, what they've done is give you one for each model. So we've got the Vosper MTB Type 1 mid-war version. They did change the armament quite significantly through the war. We've then got the Vosper Type 2 in mid-war. So again, looking at that, they're keyed for what the different weapons are and the angles that they fire at. Lists them all there as well. Gives you your speeds, your turning angle, and what size it is. And you've got your damage markers there as well. Additional equipment and hull points. Okay, that's pretty straightforward. We've got a card for a tanker. And then we've got the German E-boat or S-boat, if you want to be more correct. You've got the S-38 and the S-100, and again, all the details are given there as well. So one card per boat, which means that you can actually track the damage on them. And I've seen like a paperclip type effect used for that. So what else have we got? We've got some thick card stock here. All I've got to do is get into it. There we go. So I'm guessing that at least the top one is terrain. So we've got an island, quite cleverly done. It's been done in 4 sections, so they can actually be put on board corners, or you could combine 2 to put them on an edge, or you can actually just use them like this across the whole island. You've also got what look like sandbars and some rocks. Oh, that's quite clever. On one side you've got the dark blue for the North Atlantic, and on the other you've got the light blue for the Mediterranean. That's a clever touch. So what have we got? We've got then a jetty. We've got the tanker, just the bottom there. Mines. I'm not quite sure what those are. I'll have to look those up. We've got an aircraft. We've got a Ju-87 Stuka and I think a Beaufighter. I'm not an expert on the maritime ones. We've got a lighthouse. Okay, and again, alternative versions for the other side. Although for the tanker, it's actually sinking on the other one. So you are going to be a little bit restricted, but they seem to have used like a bit more of a mid blue for that, so it blends in with both. What else have we got then? We've got the movement counters. What look like critical hit cards. Out of action, I think they go on to the individual cards. Fire and a crew hit token as well, so more of those. And we've got other ones on the other side. Oh, one of the range rules has actually got the common modifiers on. Okay, that makes sense. So we've got that. We've got the playmat. Now the playmat is quite large. It's definitely not going to fit on this table fully unfolded, and again double-sided with Mediterranean on one side and Atlantic on the other. Okay, we've got some more things here. Let's have a look what we've got. I know what these are. We've got the wake markers. You use these with the vehicles with the boats to establish speed. Because I said they used something like paper clips. They're actually card that will fit over those individual record cards to indicate the damage and speed. Okay, so that's quite clever. How many of those have we got? Okay, some of these look like they're shorter than the others. So we've got 8 of the large ones and 8 of the small ones, and then lots of the damage indicators. Okay, what else do we have? I've got a quick start guide. Okay, so what does it tell me? Oh, it tells me how to actually assemble them. Very usefully, it actually breaks down what the weapons are. I'm not an expert, my eyesight's not as brilliant as it used to be, so that is actually quite useful. So we've got those. You've then got a painting guide. Okay, quite bemused that one of the colours is spaceship exterior. Yeah, that's probably not the one most gamers will have in their collection, but I don't think it's going to be hard to actually sort that one out. And again, you've got the Kreigsmarine ones. Nice touches. It shows you what colours to paint the torpedoes, because they are they look like they're the same. Actually, I was thinking they were different. Okay, and how to paint the guns, and then we've got the rule book. Okay, so let's have a quick look at the rule book. Okay, how many pages are we looking at with this? 108 pages. Does have an index, I think I saw that. Yeah, so that's always good. I always like to have an index. So let's have a quick glance at it. Again, it's typical Warlord. It's full of illustrations. Let's have a look. So we've got the introduction to the game. Little definition of what's what on your boat. I like the fact they've actually labelled port and starboard. For the landlubbers among us, the easy way to remember it: port is left, same number of letters, and starboard with more letters is right. Just one of those little things that you might find useful. So we've got the main rules, nice and straightforward. Like they've had in some of the other rules, you get little hints in little boxes. And we're straight into the scenarios. By page 14 we're actually into scenarios. So we've got a couple of scenarios there. It then says read the advanced missions before going on to the later ones. So 3 is intended for a bit more experienced players using more advanced rules. It's lovely artwork. So the advanced rules, it looks at things that we haven't covered before, inexperienced crews, veteran crews, things like that. Ramming, okay, not a common tactic, but it definitely occurred. Critical damage, repairs, additional equipment, yeah, more scenarios. Okay, that's looking quite interesting. Destroying a convoy. So it says 2 merchant vessels, so that you might need a few more ships for that one. Just looking at this one at random, what does it say about the forces? Yeah, it does look like you'll need a few more ships for some of these. Terrain, yeah, it's not just blue, there are things out there. Shore batteries, that's a good one to have included. Tiny boats, okay. More weapons, mortars, not something that I'd particularly come across until I was doing a bit of research prior to this, that the Japanese actually put mortars on some of their boats, and even the US then started using them. So they're not a common one, but they're there. Yeah, the zigzag torpedo. Yeah, enough said. It's typical German, creating a solution to a problem that probably really wasn't there. So then we've got aviation, so we're looking at aircraft, submarine warfare. I wasn't expecting to see submarines in there. Gives me an excuse, I suppose, to rewatch Das Boot. Brief history of MTB. MTB stands for Motor Torpedo Boat. You also sometimes see MGB, which is Motor Gunboat. It talks about the different theatres of war, who fought whom. That's quite useful. So collecting little ships talks a bit about the each country and sort of what sort of things that they had. Sites is there. He talks about the Italians. There gives a list of what the Italian ships were. Yeah, it's looking at this. This is a nice beginner's guide. I'm no expert on this. Most of my knowledge came from comics when I was a kid. So I'm going to really enjoy reading the history of this. Then you get the ship roster. So we've got a point system in place. It talks about all the different ones. I like that table because it's actually all for, well, look of it, creating your own ships. Is that what it is? There's just lots of additions by the look of it to the different ships. Okay, yeah, there's a decent spread of ships there, going all the way up to destroyers. Oh, that's an interesting one to see in there. HMS Campbelltown, if you're planning to do the San Nazaire raid. Plenty of different Vosper's armed trawlers, merchantman tankers here, Liberty ships, that's a good one. So the Kreigsmarine, what they had. Okay, Italian, US, oops, a bit farther. So Italian, US, Japanese, the Soviets, who are not usually seen as a major navy, but there's some nice little ones in there. How to play a campaign. Okay, that's a nice touch. So we're getting, so crews look like they can get special abilities in there as well. Yep. Quick reference sheet. Okay. Few illustrations from some of the Osprey books on the subject. Less than you get in a land-based one, but there are less books for you to choose from. Critical hit chart, the bibliography, the index that we picked up earlier, and yeah, I suppose usefully what Osprey books cover the game. Okay, so it looks interesting. I can see it's going to take not a lot of effort probably to get the ships painted. I think the bulk of the time is going to be spent learning the rules. So hopefully you found that useful for what's in the box. What I will do is, like many of my videos, when I actually get around to getting stuff assembled and painted, we'll actually have a few games played out, and I'll actually video a couple of them just so you can actually see how well the rules work. But it does seem to be aimed at quite a beginner for it. The history and everything is there for it. It's something I love with Warlord, is the level of history they put into the book. I learnt a lot of my history when I was a kid from Airfix models, the little leaflets I used to get in the box. This is sort of achieving the same thing. It looks like it's designed to be a fairly simple game. And I like the way it's built up in sections. It reminds me of some of the old board games I used to play a long time ago, where you actually learnt some of the rules, played a game or two, learnt some more rules. A bit less in this, but at least it's broken down. Similar way to Blood Red Skies. So I'll see what I make of it, and then I'll come back to you for another video. Hopefully you'll join me for some of them, and if you do, don't forget to tell me which ones you're enjoying and why in the comments. That way I know which ones to make more of. See you soon for another review.